Right now at 5, students from underserved areas get a new fast track to medical school. We'll explain how the Rural Health Scholars Program works.
And we've got another hot and muggy day across the area. Heat advisories continuing and pop-up storm chances. A look at all of that coming up.
Plus, a long empty building in Joplin finally gets demolished, and the city uses federal rescue funds to clear the way for a housing development.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Porter. It is now Wednesday, July the 23rd.
Certainly is, yes.
Got the message yesterday actually from the wife. They were tearing the building down, so I got the boys.
Big moment for you.
I grew up at 19th and Moffett, a block and a half from this thing. Saw it every day. It was very sad. Shed a little tear inside. I mean, it's exciting, new development, finally something useful. But man, it's an iconic piece of the West Side. And
you might be the one person who loved that building the most.
If I would have had the money to do something
Yeah.
with it, I probably would have, but I didn't. But still, great way to make way for new development, but sad to see it go. You could always spot my neighborhood from so many places in the city. But that's that. All right. It was also very hot yesterday, standing out in the sun watching this.
Imagine,
I only watched so much before it was time to go back home, and it's going to be very hot again today. Let's start with a live look from downtown Pittsburgh. It doesn't look too hot. And actually, our temperatures this morning, especially compared to yesterday, are a little bit better for some of us out there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin looks pretty good as well. Got a couple of cars out there this morning. And heat advisories, they've been scaled back a bit. We've lost Delaware and Benton County, but still have the others continuing in place. And again, the latest of these still continue through Thursday evening. National Weather Service in Springfield says that the opportunity for hot conditions will extend beyond Thursday, so we'll continue to monitor that. But still, toasty, you still got to be taking precautions out there. And we're at this point still. Heat index values up to about 105. Some of you may be a little higher than that. Some of you may be a little lower. So heat-related illness is certainly possible. And of course, susceptible populations, the elderly, children, and those with certain medical conditions, even this level of heat, as we've mentioned before, can be a bit tricky for them. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself and watching out for others over the next really several days, because it's going to just stay hot. We're looking at partly cloudy skies today, and as we roll into the afternoon, isolated pop-up storms, better chances along and west of I-49. There's still slim chances, but that's a better opportunity to see one or two of those. And of course, once we lose the heating of the day, we will lose those pop-up storm chances. Temperatures this morning get a little better. We were sitting at 80 yesterday in Joplin at this time. Not quite that bad, but still mild. 74 in Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh. Across the region, a mix of 70s. We've got low, mid, and getting into some upper 70s here and there. No major heat index values this morning either. The last couple of mornings we've had heat index values. Iola on Monday was almost a 90-degree heat index at 5 a.m. So a bit of an improvement for now. Low 80s by 9, low 90s by noon, mid 90s for our highs today. Isolated pop-up storms roughly between about 2 and 7. And we'll have south winds gusting upwards of 25. And as I mentioned, for many of us, heat index values in that 100 to 105 degree range. The heat does continue, and we have at least some slightly better storm chances over the next couple of days. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Thanks. Well, a recent report from the National Rural Health Association shows that physician shortages continue to grow. Now, local community colleges and universities are working together to make sure those in the 4 states get the care they need. Leaders from 8 area community colleges, MSSU, PSU, and Kansas City University Joplin launched the Rural Health Scholars Program yesterday. The goal is to fast-track students from underserved areas into careers as doctors and dentists.
This will be starting by getting students enrolled in the Rural Health Scholars Program and seeing them start to accomplish their dreams of becoming a healthcare provider. That's going to be the first level of success, and then someday they're going to be practitioners taking care of 4-state citizens, and that's going to be the next level of success.
Later in the hour, we'll take a look at the numbers and impact of rural health care shortages in the 4 states. Well, piece by piece, the old Freeman building in Joplin is officially coming down. Crews started the demolition yesterday on this site at 20th and Sargent. Now, the century-old structure, which has been vacant for several years, is being cleared to make way for future redevelopment. The city of Joplin is helping with the removal of asbestos and demolition of the building using American Rescue Plan Act funding. The site was privately owned but has been donated to the Economic Security Corporation, who plans to develop affordable housing on the property. Well, doctors say patients need extra support after surgery, and a donation from the Arvest Foundation to Mercy Joplin will help provide that. Arvest's donation will be used to help buy cardiac recovery pillows for patients healing from open heart surgery. These heart-shaped pillows can provide comfort, reduce pain, and protect the patient's incision site. The $4,000 donation will help provide these pillows for at least 200 patients. Those who work with heart surgery patients say these pillows have a big impact in helping with recovery.
Heart surgery involves so many people and it affects so many people that I think it's a major community issue, and having other partners in the community realize that it's an important health concern and partnering with us to support our patients and our team, I'm beyond grateful to see that.
Now, this is one of several projects the Arvest Foundation has helped provide with Mercy. Mercy staff say previous donations have provided potentially life-saving equipment, including free mammograms, a fetal monitor, and an infant warmer. Well, Moccasins Across America is walking through Miami, Oklahoma. It's a prayer and healing walk with the hopes of bringing the nation together. KOAM's Ty Parks has more.
Making a stop in Miami, Oklahoma, a group of Native American tribes are on a special mission.
Moccasins Across America is a prayer evangelism walk across America. And because there's so much going on in America in the political arena and families and with our tribal leaders and in the home, the Lord just wanted to really engage in a way that he's never engaged in the previous years.
This walk is happening because of a prophecy given by Billy Graham in the 70s.
When the Native American awakened from their deep sleep or darkness, the Lord would move upon them, and they would be the very nation that he would call to carry the good news to the nation, and they will have a role in turning America back to God. So I asked the Lord, what is my portion in that huge vision of Dr. Billy Graham?
The group left California in May and plan to walk all the way to Washington, D.C. by October.
Healing for a nation begins in the heart of every individual. One nation under God. We're many different tribes and tongues and people. And healing begins in the heart of every individual.
The co-founder, Terry, says anyone is welcome to join.
We invite them to join the walk, or if they would like a prayer. And what we like to see, the result of our compassionate support, is to see that they had an encounter with the presence of God. We hope that they walk away, trusting again in God.
Healing and becoming one nation, one step at a time. In Miami, Oklahoma, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
At the end of the walk in Washington, D.C., the group hopes to have a meeting with President Trump. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Ted Lasso returns to Richmond, but this time he's coaching a women's team in the highly anticipated Season 4. Plus, Republicans and Democrats unite to demand Epstein file releases, but House Speaker Mike Johnson calls it a political game. We'll take a look at the showdown that's dividing Washington. And Chris returns with another look at your Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch, the House of Representatives is starting its summer recess early today, a move made by Republican leaders to avoid a vote on the Epstein files. Now, as the Department of Justice plans to interview Epstein's accomplice, President Trump is turning his focus to former President Obama, generating a rare response from his office. CBS News correspondent Jared Hill has more from New York.
Well, the question is on the motion to adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is sending lawmakers home early for summer break. rather than dealing with a bipartisan push to force a vote on releasing more files on Jeffrey Epstein.
What we refuse to do is participate in another one of the Democrats' political games.
But Republicans like Kentucky's Thomas Massie are also leading the charge.
It would behoove the Speaker to bring this to the floor. Just vote this out. Give it to the Senate and let them do their thing.
It's an issue that's roiled the Trump administration for weeks. His deputy attorney general says he wants to interview Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, currently serving 20 years for conspiring to sexually abuse minors. It's a plan the president says he wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
President Trump then pivoted to former President Barack Obama over an intelligence report concerning his administration's investigation into allegations Russia tried to influence the 2016 election.
He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election.
In a rare response, the former president's office called the comments a weak attempt at distraction.
They caught President Obama absolutely cold.
His allegations came during a meeting on trade with the president of the Philippines, which resulted in a deal of 19% tariffs on imports from that country.
It's a great deal for everybody.
Later, another trade deal with Japan, lowering a proposed 25% tariff to 15%. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Well, President Trump says as part of that deal, Japan will also invest $550 billion into the U.S. Japan was America's fifth largest trading partner last year with massive imports of cars, electronics, and chemicals. Well, still to come, from boosting immunity to improving mental health, scientists prove laughter delivers real medical benefits. Plus, hot and humid conditions continue today in the 4 states. Chris returns with another look at your forecast. Entertainment news now, including the latest on a beloved streaming show making a comeback. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
I think we all have Ted Lasso in us,
Production is underway on Ted Lasso Season 4. Executive producer and star Jason Sudeikis is back, along with Jeremy Swift, Hannah Waddingham, and Juno Temple. Apple TV released this first-look photo and says Season 4 will feature Ted returning to Richmond to coach a women's football team, an idea teased in the Season 3 finale.
Man, it feels really gratifying.
Adria Arjona has a new leading role. Variety reports the Andor and Hitman actress is set to star opposite Michael B. Jordan in a reimagining of the romantic heist film The Thomas Crown Affair. Production is underway in London with a planned release date of March 5th, 2027.
How do you spend your summers?
Normally in a big white tent in a field.
Crank up the ovens for the Great American Baking Show Celebrity Summer. Yara Shahidi, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Andrew Rannells, and June Diane Raphael try to impress Paul and Prue with their summer treats. The special premieres on the Roku channel August 16th. Saving room for dessert in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, certainly lots to look forward to. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've still got heat advisories in place for some of us. Another hot and muggy day and some pop-up storm chances. We'll go over all the details with you when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, coming up on 521 now on this Wednesday morning. We're going to start with the future track, something we haven't had to look at in a while because there hasn't really been much going on. But as we head into the afternoon, roughly between about 2 and 7, we're going to have an opportunity for some isolated pop-up storms. Now, bear in mind, with the nature of pop-up storms, the majority of us will remain dry. And with pop-up storms on future track, it is simply indicating these are the zones or the areas where it would be more likely that we might see 1 or 2. It doesn't mean we're going to see, 6, 7 storms. It just means we could see a couple in those areas. The better chances along and west of I-49. As we lose the heating of the day, we will lose the pop-up storms. It'll be partly cloudy today, tonight, and into tomorrow. Early morning could get a couple of showers, thunderstorms in our far western counties, and then into the afternoon we go. And additional pop-up storm chances are out there. And then by late evening Thursday into the overnight, at least at this point, there's some consistency on maybe some thunderstorm chances, some actual rainfall moving in late Thursday into early Friday. Now, at this point, again, no severe weather is expected right now, and most of this activity is expected to remain fairly confined into southeast Kansas. So we'll see how it plays out exactly, but just starting to get today, at least this morning, some hints of maybe some thunderstorm chances. Again, late Thursday into early Friday. Then by Friday afternoon, we return to our pop-up storm chances out there. So we'll have those, and then could get a couple of additional storms in our northern counties, but otherwise, again, just pop-up storms. Heat index values, once again, are going to continue to push into that 100 to 105 degree range as we go into today, into Thursday, Friday. And a reminder, too, peak heating this time of year is roughly between 4 and 6 in the evening. So that's why we're stopping the feels like map here at about 5 o'clock in the evenings. That's when we're going to be at that peak heating. So this is also why, though, we've stuck with heat advisories, because our heat index value is not looking to be as extreme over the next few days as originally anticipated, which is good. We'll certainly take it. But still, we roll into the weekend, our temperatures begin to climb. That's what we got to watch, is we got to start watching these potential rises in heat index values. Heat advisories, again, Kansas, Missouri continue through Thursday. Tulsa, again, they do them day by day, but as you can see, they're back in place again through 8 this evening. They'll very likely reappear tomorrow. But Delaware and Benton County have been dropped out of that. Reminder as well, we have a number of extreme heat safety tips. As long as we've got the extreme heat, we will be including these safety tips in our forecast page at KOAMnewsnow.com/forecast. They've got some great references, great information on how to keep yourself safe out there. Partly cloudy skies through the morning, near 80 by 8, near 90 by 11 o'clock. Highs today about the mid-90s. A couple of pop-up storms. South winds gusting to 25. Into the evening, again, those wrap up. Partly cloudy skies. Overnight, we fall back into the mid-70s. South winds 5 to 10. South winds gusting to 20 tomorrow. Mid-90s, upper 90s. Pop-up storm chances again through Friday. Maybe, again, a few late evening storms for some of us at least. We clear out for the weekend, start heating up. More pop-up storm chances next week. Temperatures continuing to hang out in the low to mid-90s. That's Check Your Forecast. We're going to send it over now to Elise with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, we've all heard that laughter is the best medicine, and it turns out there might be something to it. Studies show laughter is associated with a number of benefits and can positively affect the immune system, stress levels, heart health, pain, and mental health. Experts with UCLA Health and the Mayo Clinic have a simple suggestion to take advantage of this. Be an easy laugh. Find the humor in the people and places around you and look up funny videos on the internet.
Makes you feel better. I've done a deep dive on the science of it, and I mean, it can help your immune system, your cardiovascular system, it lowers stress hormones, and interestingly enough, it can actually decrease pain. And it looks like it increases endorphins in the brain when you have a big belly laugh. And there was a writer and a journalist named Norman.
Well, CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook says bottom line, laughter just makes you feel better. And the COVID pandemic may have aged our brains. A study by the University of Nottingham found people who lived through the pandemic showed signs of faster brain aging on scans, with the changes most noticeable in men, the elderly, and people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Only people who were infected with the virus between their scans showed a decrease in some cognitive abilities, such as mental flexibility and processing speed. And the use of artificial intelligence is becoming more common in medicine, but new research shows even advanced AI can make some simple mistakes. Researchers at Mount Sinai tested AI programs with basic medical ethics questions and found the technology often made obvious mistakes and jumped to the wrong conclusions. The study's authors say AI does have a place in medicine, but there needs to be human oversight. And a University of Sydney study found cannabis and psychedelics like magic mushrooms can help alleviate symptoms for people suffering from eating disorders. Commonly prescribed drugs like antidepressants were found to help with mental health, but not with eating disorder symptoms. Researchers say more study is needed to determine if cannabis and psychedelics could be an effective treatment. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, a detainee calls his wife during a press conference to describe conditions inside an Everglades facility. What she heard will shock you.
And the dangerous heat continues across the region. Heat advisories in place, but some pop-up storm chances also out there. Look at your forecast coming up.
Kansas City University creates a new strategy to bring more doctors and dentists into rural areas. I'm Lonnie Walton in Joplin. I'll have that story coming up.
4 States Most Watched News starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday. It's July the 23rd.
Sure is.
It's hard to believe, man. I really want time to slow down.
I know.
Look, you're still in your prime, okay?
Well,
I'm not saying, by the way, that anybody my age is like old, but
right.
you start to notice this. You're like, we're starting to get on the other side of this hill here, and I need time to slow down. I want to enjoy. I've got some time. I need to enjoy things out there, and then of course you get the heat. So when you're ready to go out and enjoy it, you can't because it's not a good idea.
Hot out there.
Yeah, it's too miserable out there to enjoy. But don't worry, enjoyable times will certainly be on the way. And until then, we got to get through this heat. We're going to start with a live look downtown Pittsburgh. And so far, I mean, it's one of those things, again, just like we get in the winter on those really cold days, but it's sunny outside. It looks nice, doesn't feel nice. This morning, though, again, improvements in our temperatures out there, which is good. We're a little cooler this morning where we were yesterday. And where we have been the last couple of days. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looks good. Reminder on those heat advisories. Kansas, Missouri, again, they go until Thursday. Tulsa going day by day. That's why they're back again. Even though they're expiring again at 8 this evening, very likely reappear. But we have seen Delaware and Benton County drop out of those heat advisories, and we don't have any for a good chunk of southeast Kansas still. Honestly, I'm a little surprised. I kind of thought we might get some heat advisories out there by today, but we did not. But that still doesn't mean it's not going to be hot. It doesn't mean you can't just go out there and run around and have a good time. You've got to make sure you're still staying hydrated, taking care of yourself. Heat index values in this zone of heat-related illness is possible for most people. But remember, children, the elderly, those with certain medical conditions, a little more susceptible to the heat, so they might still feel a little more like this out there. So that's why you want to make sure you're checking on them and, of course, taking care of yourself as the temperatures remain hot. Partly cloudy skies today between about 2 and 7. We'll have a window mainly west of I-49 for some isolated pop-up storm chances. Bear in mind, so with pop-up storms and the future track, it's showing where they could be. Doesn't mean they're going to be exactly there. Doesn't mean we're going to see as many as you just saw in future track, but we have that opportunity. But unfortunately, a majority of us will remain dry. Temperatures this morning, as I mentioned, still above normal, but better. 74 in Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh. And across the area, we don't have any major heat indexes this morning either, which is fantastic. We got low to mid 70s. And remember, just a couple of days ago, Iola's heat index at 5 a.m. was near 90 degrees. So certainly some improvements this morning. Low 80s by 9, low 90s by noon. Mid-90s for our highs. Got those pop-up storm chances. South winds gusting to 25 on occasion. And we'll have those heat index values in that 100 to 105 degree range. So make sure you're staying hydrated. The heat continues for a while, as we've talked about, but we also have additional pop-up storm chances. Go over all those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, activists in southern Florida are calling for the immediate shutdown of the immigrant detention center known as Alligator Alcatraz. Florida nonprofits and medical professionals joined with families of detainees in the Everglades yesterday, demanding the site be shut down due to the inhumane conditions. One detainee called his wife during the press conference. She said he has a foot fungus due to water on the floor and is often treated harshly by the guards. Other reports say food and water are substandard. Getting prescription medication can be difficult, and the heat and humidity is dangerous. Activists also rallied against the name the Trump administration has given the facility. Well, Florida officials say a facility meets the standard required by law. Governor Ron DeSantis told reporters Tuesday he feels some of the claims being made are exaggerated and facilities like this are necessary to handle the Trump administration's mass deportations. Well, rock legend Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76. This comes just days after the Black Sabbath frontman took the stage in his UK hometown to perform his final concert. The so-called Prince of Darkness had been in poor health for the last several years, including suffering from Parkinson's disease. The three-time Grammy Award winner sold more than 100 million records. Well, a recent report from the National Rural Health Association shows that physician shortages continue to grow. Now, that study showing the burnout and staffing shortages are making a problem even worse. Now, multiple groups are coming together to address the problem right here. KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports the goal is to fast-track students from underserved areas into careers as doctors and dentists.
We need more medical professionals in this region.
Chris Childers is the Dean of Arts and Sciences at Pitt State University. Addressing the shortages of doctors and dentists in the 4-state area is why Kansas City and Joplin, MSSU, Pitt State, and 8 community colleges are teaming up.
And if we're going to really improve health outcomes in rural communities, we've got to have better access to health care, which means more healthcare providers.
The program aims to provide high school students a fast track to becoming a doctor or a dentist.
I think we all hope to see is students in high schools from these small towns and rural communities go through this pathway. So in many cases that would be attending a community college for a year and then coming to Missouri Southern State University or Pitt State University.
Not only that, these educators hope these students won't forget where they came from.
So it's so important that we work together long term to keep talent here, to grow that talent, to provide opportunities.
Students who have a substantial background of growing up in rural communities, smaller communities, are much more likely to return and establish practices in those types of communities.
Now, normally these schools are about competition for students in athletics and more, but for this cause, they're pulling it together.
We're all here to serve students, and I think it's exciting that the opportunities that will be provided.
I think today was a historic day because we are today one team.
And professionals I spoke to today says the biggest thing they want to see is change. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
KCU Joplin officials say nearly 65% of primary care health professional shortages are in rural areas and less than 12% of physicians practice there. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Money is tight for Americans, but new research reveals what people refuse to cut from their budgets, and pets do make the list. Plus, are you counting on Social Security for your retirement? Well, a new survey shows that you're not alone, and why that might be a problem. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. In Consumer Watch, a new AARP survey finds about 2/3 of retirees say they substantially rely on Social Security payments for their retirement income or plan to do so. Now, that's compared to around half of retirees asked the same question in 2005. The AARP says more than 3/4 of Americans are concerned Social Security won't provide enough money for their retirement as the program faces funding challenges. A new index from the corporate travel management company Navan shows business travel was up 15% in the second quarter compared to last year. Overseas hotel spending increased 17% compared to 12% on the domestic side, and taxi and rideshare booking also showed growth with a jump of more than 20%. And chocolate lovers, beware, a price increase is on the horizon. Hershey announced it's raising prices on its chocolate products in response to rising cocoa costs globally. The company says customers should expect a low double-digit increase in the coming months. The most of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa, which has struggled recently with heavy rains and heat waves leading to disease wilting crops. That's a look at Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got another hot and muggy day for us out there, and we also have some rain chances building in. We'll have another full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now, 5:40.
Well, is there something, no matter the cost, that you will never stop buying? See what some Americans consider essential in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Michelle Rook with today's Ag Day Minute. President Trump may soon be making a trip to China. The president saying on Tuesday that China's President Xi had invited him to the country and that he would probably be doing that in the not too distant future. Reuters had reported aides to President Trump and Xi have discussed a potential meeting between the two during President Trump's visit to Asia later this year. China is one of our top trading partners when it comes to agriculture. There's been some wild weather as of late, but it appears the corn crop is holding its own right now. The latest crop progress report from USDA showing 74% of the crop is rated good to excellent. That's on par with last week. For soybeans, 68% of the crop is rated good to excellent. That's down 2% from last week. Money is tight for many Americans right now, but there are some things people say they will never give up. A new study by SensaPay outlines what Americans are valuing most right now and why. Surveyors say Americans are no longer just protecting the basics like groceries and gas, choosing instead to spend on what makes them feel grounded, like their pets, their health, and their sense of routine. For example, fresh produce and baby supplies scored as essential along with pet food and supplies. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on this station or get updates at agweb.com.
Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Doing a little pest control this morning here in the studio. This time, though, this wasp, man, he wasn't flying around. He landed right next to Elise on our teleprompter control just now. He's crossed over. He's made it to a better life. Oh, joy. This is the joys of summer, man, because that's when all of these things show up. All those creatures show up. All these things just get into your house, into your building, wherever you are. Not fun, but it's all right. He's taken care of. And now we're going to take care of your forecast, starting with the future track, of course, which, again, we haven't shown a lot lately because there's not been much to show. Now there finally is. Not a lot, but there's something other than just some clouds and gusty winds. Between about 2 and 7 today, mainly west of I-49, we could get an isolated pop-up storm or two. Now remember, of course, with future track, it does not mean we're going to see widespread showers like you're seeing here. It's just giving us the idea that some pop-up showers or storms will be possible. And again, mainly in the southeastern Kansas, mainly west of I-49. Once we lose the heating of the day, those storms, of course, will go away. And, most of us will still be dry, still be hot, still be muggy. We go into tomorrow, could get an isolated shower storm in our far northwestern counties. Not much expected there. And then into tomorrow afternoon, initially some pop-up storms. And then by late evening, some of the data this morning, some of the new data this morning is suggesting maybe a few thunderstorm chances. Now, this could change again. We've seen this change, from our morning show to our noon news. We've seen it change night and day different. But right now, there's at least 3 different computer models out of the, half dozen or more, that are suggesting that we could get some showers and thunderstorms by late Thursday. Now, they still also look to remain confined mainly west of I-49 and into southeast Kansas. No severe weather is expected at this point, but we might get some meaningful rainfall. A few lingering thunderstorms northern counties Friday morning, and we clear out partly cloudy skies again, and then by Friday afternoon we get additional pop-up storm chances out there, and maybe a couple of again organized thunderstorms limited to our far northern counties by late Friday into Saturday, but still, some rain at this point is better than no rain. Heat index values, again, are going to be in that 100 to 105 degree range for most of us. Not all of us necessarily, but most of us. And those heat index values will continue to increase as we head through Thursday and into Friday and Saturday as our temperatures begin to increase as well. And Saturday looks to be one of the higher days out there with a few more of those 100 to 105 degree readings. Now, our heat advisories don't run beyond Thursday as of right now. Could that change? It certainly could. But as I mentioned too, I was also surprised that we didn't get any new heat advisories for southeast Kansas for today. So we'll see how this pans out, but we at least still have these at least through Thursday for those heat index values of 100 to 105. And a quick reminder again, we have a number of extreme heat safety tips. The difference between heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Safety tips you need to know, things you can do to protect yourself and your friends, family, loved ones, the pets. All of this will be on our website, KOAMnewsNow.com/forecast, so long as this extreme heat sticks around. Beautiful sunrise, though, this morning. Like great colors again out there. Partly cloudy through the morning, near 80 by 8, near 90 by 11 o'clock this morning. Into the afternoon, mid-90s for our highs, again between 2 and 7. Pop-up storm or two possible. South winds gusting to 25. Into tonight, Partly cloudy skies. The storms wrap up. Still mild, low 80s by 10 and still above average, mid-upper 70s for our lows. Temperatures again climbing. Again, pop-up storms initially, maybe a few evening storms out there. Pop-up storms Friday, hot, mid-upper 90s in some cases. Staying sunny through the weekend at this point. More pop-up storms next week for us. Let's check your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Elise with sports.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the Nevada Griffins playoff journey concluded with a 2-1 loss in the 13th inning to the top seed St. Joe Mustangs. Now, after clinching the final playoff spot and upsetting the Chillicothe Mudcats 4-1, the Griffins demonstrated resilience with their pitching holding off a strong Mustangs lineup. Now, their impressive run ends, but the playoffs continue. Stay tuned for further developments. And the Joplin Outlaws celebrate a commanding 14-0 victory over the Fort Smith Marshals, marking their 4th win in the last 5 games. Garrett Springer, Luke Shannon, and Merkel Turner each hit home runs, while Tyler Broderick, Ravin Morgan, and Anthony Mazza contributed multi-hit games. The Outlaws continue their strong performance as they push towards the season's end. Well, as the Major League Baseball regular season approaches its final stretch, every game is crucial, especially for the Royals and the Cardinals. Both teams are currently outside the wild card race, making each matchup vital for their playoff hopes. The Kansas City Royals are reflecting on a tough 6-0 loss to the Cubs after a strong performance the previous night, hitting 4 home runs in a 12-4 victory. The Royals' offense struggled, managing only 4 hits through 9 innings. Rich Hill's return saw him allow 3 runs over 5 innings, but it wasn't enough to keep KC in the game. You can stay tuned for their next opportunity to bounce back. Let's learn more about the newest member of the Royals. Hill, the 45-year-old lefty, has been a journeyman throughout his career, to say the least. After taking the mound at Wrigley Field, Hill has now pitched for 14 teams during his 20-plus year MLB tenure, tying the major league record for the most teams that one player has played for. Joining Edwin Jackson, Hill made his major league debut on June 15th at 2005 at Wrigley Field as a member of the Cubs. Now remember that date in just a second as he returned to where it all started, donning the royal blue to continue etching his name in the history books. Now remember that date, June 15th, 2004, the day Hill made his major league debut. Let's now compare it to the current baseball landscape. The youngest player to appear in a major league game this year, Didier Fuentes, was born 4 days after Hill's debut on June 19th, 2005. Now, when Rich Hill made his debut on that day, current Royal star Bobby Witt Jr. was 5 years old. Rookie slugger Jag Calignoni was only 2 years old at the time. But the craziest fact of them all is that Rich Hill is closer to the age of Royals manager Matt Cotraro than to any of his teammates. He is 7 years younger than the manager Q and 9 years older than his closest teammates in age, Seth Lugo. Now, the Southpaw continues to prove the age is only a number after the outing. Well, this morning, the St. Louis Cardinals are pre-grouping after 8-4 loss to the Rockies, despite breaking a losing streak with a win on Monday. Now, last night's game saw Eric Fetty give up 6 runs in 3 innings, and the offense struggled, going 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals missed an opportunity to gain ground in the wild card race as San Diego also lost. Stay tuned for their next matchup. Well, former Kansas City Chiefs safety Tyrann Mathieu, known as the Honey Badger, announced his retirement from the NFL after 12 seasons. Now, he played for the Chiefs from 2019 to 2021 and was a key part of their 2019-20 Super Bowl winning team and earned 2 All-Pro selections during his time in Kansas City. And that's a look at sports this morning. Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, July is National Ice Cream Month, and today it puts the spotlight on a classic favorite, vanilla ice cream with sprinkles on top. Now, Thomas Jefferson is credited with writing the first known American recipe for vanilla ice cream. A handwritten version is still preserved at the Library of Congress. Now, as for sprinkles, their origins are a little murkier, with several countries claiming to have created the colorful topping. But no matter where they came from, combine vanilla and sprinkles, and you've got a taste of summer worth celebrating. And 6 rehabilitated sea turtles, including 5 critically endangered Kemp's Ridleys, were released back into the ocean off Massachusetts yesterday morning. The turtles had spent 7 months recovering from life-threatening cold, stunning conditions at the New England Aquarium's Sea Turtle Hospital. One of them, a turtle named Hercules, overcame sepsis and gastrointestinal disease before making his return to Nantucket Sound.
That certainly looks like a good thing to do, is head out to the ocean if you can, with all the heat we've got across the area, and those turtles.
And some ice cream.
Yeah. And ice cream. Don't turtles have ice cream? Isn't there somebody like a zoo that gives turtles ice cream? Oh. Maybe it's not. Maybe not. All I know is ice cream, turtles, ocean, all a great idea as we continue to stay hot out there. Near 80 by 8, near 90 by 11. Partly cloudy skies across the area. Eventually into the mid-90s for our highs. Isolated pop-up storms west of I-49 between 2 and 7. South winds gusting to 25. Heat index values 100 to 105 again. Rain wraps up by 7, as we mentioned. Partly cloudy, still mild, well above average, mid-upper 70s overnight tonight. Partly cloudy skies. Breezy again tomorrow. South winds gusting to 20. Could get some pop-up storms and then maybe a few evening storms into southeast Kansas. More pop-up storm chances Friday, but again, those chances still pretty scattered out there. Most of us will be dry. Very hot Friday, upper 90s. More pop-up storm chances next week, because that's our favorite phrase of the summertime months. And, of course, hot and muggy. That is a quick check at your forecast. We've got another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.